It's not just cutting for cutting's sake. It's cutting to invest. A lot of companies are taking that and putting it right back into the business to make them more competitive and more differentiated. Because at the end of the day, what you invest in and your key initiatives as a company is what's going to differentiate you.
Yes.
Think about that for a minute, right? If you have 4 strategic initiatives and you're going to put your money into those strategic initiatives, those are going to be the 4 things that differentiate you. So pick carefully.
Hi and welcome to the Engati Engage series. We have the pleasure of welcoming Joanne Moretti to our interview series. I am Satyajit from the Engati team. Hi Joanne, we are thrilled to have you with us today.
Good morning, good afternoon, Satya. It's very nice to be here today with you.
Thank you. So let us begin with a quick introduction of Engati. Engati is the world's leading multilingual no-code chatbot platform, available across 14 channels with 25,000 bots created across 186 countries in every domain and use case. We run the Engati blog and video channel, which receives upwards of 300,000 visitors annually. And now for our guest, with 30 plus years in the high-tech industry, serving as an executive in the chief marketing officer roles, as well as P&L roles at various Fortune 500 companies, Joanne is a world-class go-to-market executive and the real deal. In these roles, she drove go-to-market strategies and transformations that created high-value and sustainable growth for customers and shareholders. Joanne has received a number of awards, both on a professional level and on a community level. She is a recognized advocate for the development and growth of women in STEM-related industries, as well as business in general. Joanne has been featured and quoted in many articles. Again, it's really great to have you with us today, Joanne.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and thanks for the warm introduction and lovely words. I have spent over 30 years of my life in the high-tech world, but most recently, my last sort of corporate role in America was, the chief marketing officer of a Fortune 200 manufacturing solutions company, Jabil. That was a real switch for me. Being sort of an OEM, if you will, and moving more to a manufacturing services company and learning so much. I can't even begin to tell you how much I learned in that industry around manufacturing processes, supply chain processes, and all the wonderful, people and talents and skills that I came across at that period of my life. HP, Dell, CA, those were also very, very exciting. Learned a ton. Very big companies, sometimes more difficult to navigate than others, but overall just a really blessed career and learned and met so many great people.
Yes. I mean, I saw the great companies that you worked for over 20 years in Computer Associates and HP, CMO at Dell, and of course, Jabil. And we have a question with respect to Jabil as well.
For sure. Go ahead.
Okay, the first question, Joanne. So tell us about your journey building Jabil from a contract manufacturer to a global solutions powerhouse. What are some of the branding and market acceptance challenges you faced upscaling Jabil?
Thanks for asking that. It's really interesting because they were always a powerhouse. They didn't need me to become a powerhouse. They were always an innovative, entrepreneurial, very humble organization. What we needed to figure out was the value proposition out to the outside world and who really were the customers, because Jabil has a very finite amount of big brands that you've obviously heard of that I can't talk about, but they served, let's say, 300, 400 of the biggest brands in the world. And it was really all about instilling confidence in them as to their value proposition. I could see it. I was just swept away by all the capabilities that they had and all of the good people and how focused they were on customers and serving customers. And really the idea was to convince them internally of what they had and communicate that across the board, because sometimes you're working in sort of smaller groups or isolated groups, and you really don't really understand the capabilities of the other side of the company. And by connecting us physically and digitally, we really started to learn about each other and market to one another inside the company. So I felt, and I said this for pretty much the whole 5 years that I was there, that my job was to be the glue and to enable from the inside out, to look at the market from the outside in terms of the solutions that customers needed, what the key needs were, and to understand their business pressures and understand their focus. So we had to learn from the market outside in, but we also had to learn from each other inside out, if that makes any sense. And once these groups started to understand how robust the capabilities were across the organization, magic started to happen, and innovation it was just incredible. And there was a magical place that we created to bring people together, one place across thousands of miles of global footprint, one place to bring capabilities, talent, and inspiration and customers and partners into place was in San Jose and Silicon Valley. My team and I worked with the engineering team to build something called the Jabil Blue Sky Center. And so it was a physical experience and a digital one. We created two sort of experiences for customers and our own employees, because imagine a company of 180,000 people across India, China, Europe, the US, every part of the world, right? And being able to connect them digitally. And then when they were able to come to the US, physically connect them to all of the great innovation possibilities and capabilities of Jabil. It was, I would tell you that it was more inspiration. I mean, it was equal, but I really felt that the people were inspired by the Jabil Blue Sky Center, and by learning from each other and connecting there and understanding that we were experts in, camera lens, 3D camera technology and robotics, and experts in 3D printing, and experts in acoustics and adhesives, and of course electrical systems. And so when all of these amazing capabilities came together, innovation, it was just the most fertile ground for innovation you can imagine. So it was good for our people, and it was good for our customers.
Great.
And
So
that was the job at Jabil. They were already talented. They already had everything in their brain they needed to have. My job was just to pull it together, pull it out, make them feel confident. And we did this by, leveraging customer case studies and marketing our customer, through our customer's voice instead of through our own. And once Jabil people realized, wow, we're pretty good, and we are a solutions company. We're not just a contract manufacturing order taking company. We have something to say. We have something to innovate with our customers and collaborate with them. So that was the best 5 years of my life.
Wow, that's amazing. You are right. Sometimes it starts from within the company, right? You start feeling it, and then you become advocates. You're so committed. You innovate, all that, and then
Exactly
customers start
right.
experiencing that. Yeah.
And then by connecting us through a digital thread as well, our process engineering group and process innovation group was constantly innovating processes, but had the benefit of digital twins and a digital supply chain and Industry 4.0 type of AI built into some of the plant floors, so we could see what was going on and collect data and understand how to continually optimize. So when someone said, "Hey, take over my manufacturing process," we just didn't take it over the way it was. We didn't just run it. We improved, and we leveraged digital capabilities to use things like AR and VR for design and refinement and process improvements and things like that. We used Microsoft Azure AI engine to predict failures on the assembly lines. We used an entire digital supply chain with SAP in the back end, so we could see every single part moving around in the world at any given time and understand what our supply chain risks were. Look at the disruption that we're facing right now with COVID.
Yeah.
Look at the disruptions we face with tax and trade wars. Look at the disruption we face with weather events that happen. When you have a digital supply chain, you can see what's coming and you can rearrange and take steps to avoid and mitigate risk. So our customers love that because then we're able to ship products on time. So like I said, I really appreciated being at Jabil. I appreciated their innovative spirit and pushing the envelope to try new things. And some of it was driven out of necessity. There's 3 reasons people do digital transformation. One is they want a better business performance. They want to be more efficient, more transparent, more agile. So overall, I call that business performance. 2 is they want to create a better customer experience like we did at the Blue Sky Center and that we did online. And 3 is sometimes you want to take your data, you want to take your capabilities and wrap them up and create new business models. So business performance, customer experience, and new business models are the 3 key drivers of digital transformation. And to be honest with you, Jabil always looked to drive, more in those areas. So part of it was we had to have the best business performance and be the most efficient possible. So we leveraged every kind of digital capability we could find and that made sense for our business. So it was a great experience where I got to be in the manufacturing world leveraging digital.
Great. Yeah, digital strategy, digital transformation is so critical for today's organizations. So how do you believe it is going to change for the future now that we've seen COVID and everything? Digital strategy for, let's say, marketing, how do you believe it is going to change for the future?
Well, I think we're going to become more and more dependent on digital capabilities. I think we need to all sharpen our pencils and our skills, to be honest with you. And if you haven't been doing much digital marketing, you need to learn now. I think the COVID crisis it's taken its toll on so many people and lives and livelihoods. It's changed the way we're working. And it really is incumbent upon marketers to figure out ways to engage with customers digitally and attract them and engage them. Attracting and engaging are key things that digital does very well. So even if you're in a high-touch sales motion, it's really would make sense to look at how digital can be woven into all of those high touch points, as well as low touch. And segmentation is so important here, right? Surgical segmentation and understanding who your customer targets are, and really figuring out how you're going to go to market for, what's the motion for each target market, and then applying digital and weaving things in. In some cases, it's the whole experience, right? In fact, in some cases, it's the buying experience. It's, end-to-end frictionless digital transaction, right? From the inbound activities that you're trying to do and content marketing and driving people to a website to enriching data with digital tools and enriching the data that you get on customers that are coming to the website to really precisely know who they are, their roles and things like that. So data enrichment strategies are super important. Once you know who they are, really messaging to them very carefully once they're having that experience with you. So in that low touch to no touch, digital is everything. In that, even in that medium touch, you need to blend the right types of digital strategies because you can't have those on-site large gathering trade shows anymore and things like that. And then from a high touch, I'm seeing super customized experiences and account-based marketing, leveraging things like smart rooms and all kinds of custom experiences where the value is completely clear and pronounced in that digital experience that you're delivering to that specific customer. So it's varying degrees and scalable sort of digital approaches that you can use. But it's really, really important to understand the tools that are out there, understand your sales motions, and really determine which tools are the best ones for the job. It's not a one size fits all.
Yeah. And as you said, it's very, very critical to get the segment right. You segment your customers, the market, and then have a strategy for each segment.
For sure. The other thing that's really important is what I call surgical and precision messaging. You need to have some semblance in a digital world of personas and their responsibilities and the obstacles standing between them and achieving their goals. Once you understand the persona and you understand what their key responsibility areas are and how they're measured, their KPIs, then you can figure out, okay, what's stopping this particular persona from doing their job? And how can my solution help them? And once you have that understanding, then you can apply the right messaging to appeal and punch through all the digital noise that's going on with a very piercing and targeted message. So if you're talking, and I'll give you an example of this. I wish I had a slide for you, but think about it as a cascade, right? Healthcare. That's interesting. Healthcare, what subsector of healthcare? Are you talking to a diagnostic manufacturing company? Are you talking to a drug delivery company, pharmaceutical? Are you talking about supplies and essential supply? What specific area of healthcare are you talking about? And then everything is disease related, right? So is it a diabetes company? Is it a oncology? What specific area, right? And then what are the specific trends for diabetes right now that are going on, right? And how do you appeal to the customers, if it's B2B, obviously, to the customers that are trying to develop diabetes solutions, right? And do diabetes research. And, so my thing is figure out that cascade and get right down to the core type of person and industry that they're in and subsector that they're in until you figure out exactly what that trend is and how to address it. So, for example, I want to show you one of the tools that I use with my customers. For example, here, and we start with the trend. Of course, we figure out the exact segment, size, subsector, everything. We understand exactly who we're going after, and then we break it down by trends. And then what are the typical responses based on these trends of the companies that are responding? What are the different needs that they need to go out and really hone in on? And then what are the personas that are involved in that have these needs per se? And then what you do is you really start to create much more specificity around the pain point by persona. So you have this whole continuum, and building out messaging, to me, honestly, everything's going to be better when you have good messaging. You're going to get higher quality at the top of the funnel. You're going to get a better conversion, right? Everything's going to be better. People understand what you do and understand what problem you solve. So if you step back and you look at even some of the big secular trends, like the big mega trends, right? Aging baby boomer population and, the whole rapid urbanization causing sort of this out of whack doctor-patient ratio to happen, right? So what's the response, right? What are some of the things that we're seeing? Well, we're seeing more R&D. So a lot of these medical device companies are going out and doing much more research and development. They're innovating. They're innovating faster. So if you can help companies in the R&D process, then that's kind of what you can you start focusing on. Telemedicine, right? Having patients check their vital signs and do at-home diagnostic, right? And working with doctors over the internet type of thing. And then IoT connected devices and smart sort of devices for self-diagnostics. And then smarter drug delivery systems that are being put in place to make sure efficacy takes place, right? That the drug is effectively being used and effective in its nature. So these are sort of some of the responses that we're seeing from this certain sector that we're going after. Mm-hmm. What are the needs, right? What are the physical needs now? And then who are the personas with those needs? And what are their particular pain points in addressing their initiatives that they're trying to do? Yeah, I'm telling you, Satya, when you start marketing like this and really understanding, it creates so much trust, and it creates a mutual understanding and you really start to become a trusted advisor. And so you really, I think, and this is, a philosophy of JCurve Digital, my company, JCurve Digital. We help customers identify those trends, and we do research, and we help them get that fine point, get that fine granular messaging that they need to punch through the noise in a digital world and get that attention and engagement. And then from there, it really depends on the sales motion. Is this going to an inside sales rep? Is this going to an account executive? Is this going to go into a nurturing sequence? What's going to happen after, we've sort of started to get that engagement going? And so it depends on how much more digital you continue to apply, or if it's a high touch sales motion and an account executive takes it over and starts running with it. But having that kind of breadcrumb trail and really monitoring the progress of that, of course, then you get all your digital, and this is your next question, I think, is around digital analytics and the importance to marketing.
Yes, right? Yes, definitely we have that question. So and like you said, crystal clear messaging, communicating the value really well, creating the trust, and that people start believing that brand or the product, right?
That's right.
And then the sales becomes much, much easier, right?
100%. 100%, because you have a very warm, sales-ready lead. If you've targeted properly and you've engaged properly, and it's a very generally they're higher quality, so conversion rates all the way through should. And it was funny because I was talking to one of my clients the other day, and I'm like, to be honest with you, I don't care about volume of visitors to the website. I care about the right visitors to the website. So we were trying to set metrics and performance metrics up for the team, and I was consulting them on that. And, it's like, we know that we need 1 million of these to convert to some of these, And it's like, well, maybe the metric should be driving down the number of visitors to the website and ensuring they're higher quality and a better conversion rate. So those are some of the things to think about in a in a digital world. Sorry, I just got a little message there. I didn't mean for all that noise.
Sure. Yeah. And definitely that's something that is proving to be the customer acquisition costs also go down once you have a better conversion rate. You focus on that. So the next question is related to sales. So what is your advice to organizations that will need to adopt kind of differentiated approaches to sales with the changes in the way we travel and work, post the lockdown, and with, like social distancing norms that we spoke about, which is, I believe, set to last for a, much longer time?
I have huge opinion on this. And my opinion on this is that sales needs to have a much more compelling approach, because unfortunately the statistics that I'm seeing from the CSO Insights study that was done in 2018, sales are achieving quota less than 2011. So there was a study done in 2011, another one done in 2018 by CSO Insights. And unfortunately, back in 2011, about 61% of sales reps were achieving quota. The number's gone down to 53%. We're having a bigger sort of long tail in sales. That's not good. Everybody needs to consistently perform. And this problem with distance is a big one for sales.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. And I did sales for 16 years. That was the first half of my career. Yeah. Sales is all about an experience, a high-touch experience in the B2B world. Mm. And the reason you're there is because you have to deliver a high-touch experience. If you're in sales and an account executive on the outside, you are a high-touch salesperson. And that's how you sell. That's why the company's made an investment in you, because they couldn't digitize you and create a low-touch model or create a channel model. So you're in a company because you're worth it. Now you have to prove your worth and your value. And the way that you prove that is that when you're speaking to customers, especially in a work-from-home environment, you need to deliver the value. You need to have your value proposition completely crisp. And I don't just mean your qualitative value. You need to quantify your value. Mm-hmm. And so if you're selling something that is going to have an impact on top line, statistically speaking, when you're speaking to your customer, do you have the data to express to your customers exactly what the value is to them? And I'll give you a story on this. So I work with a client called DecisionLink, and they help customers, sales forces, quantify the value, the economic impact of their solution. They have something called the Value Cloud. And so this Value Cloud solution can help salespeople in a couple of clicks create a value hypothesis. So that when you go in to meet with a customer or over the phone now, you have almost like an infographic value hypothesis that says, hey, Mr. Customer, we've worked with companies just like yours, same size, same industry, same number of employees. And here's the economic impact our solution is making on companies like yours. When a sales rep goes in with this kind of information, the one company that we have a case study on at DecisionLink, they're called DocuSign. I'm sure everybody knows who DocuSign is. DocuSign has increased their win rate by 73% because they're going in with the value proposition in their hand. Not their win rate to 73%. I think it's beyond that, but they've improved their win rate by 73%. Okay, so they are doing phenomenal. VMware has improved their win rate, I think it's 2 or 3-fold. ServiceNow statistics, who's also using this methodology, same thing. They've got their own sort of value now practice inside ServiceNow. They've also shown significant results. There's a video of the ServiceNow value chief, and we all know how big Bill McDermott is on selling and positioning value. He invented value engineering at SAP. So, ServiceNow is focused on value selling. And all the companies that we've studied that focus on value selling are having the best metrics: bigger deals, faster deal velocity, lower discount rates by quite a few percentage points, and increased deal size. That's exactly the metrics that any sales leader wants: faster deals, bigger deals, lower discount, right? All of those are great attributes. And that's what companies like DecisionLink are focused on, empowering their customers to have those value-based conversations. And so in a COVID world, when you can't be in front of the person, you can't be whining and dining, unfortunately, you can't be socializing with them. All the social norms are gone out the window, have gone out the window. And we have to rely on the true value of our solutions. So to me, I'm a big believer. I was a big believer at CA. when I opened the HP Sales University, it was all about positioning value. We didn't have tools like the Value Cloud back then. We had to do it manually or build spreadsheets and homegrown apps. But it was all about value selling. And now it's the most important thing that you can do to create trust and credibility in this type of world. That's my advice for sales. Get on that.
So with such great tools at their disposal, crunching data, showing how they can communicate and show value to the customer, do you see the win rate improving? Salespeople meeting the quota much more?
Oh,
now?
Yes. Some of our customers, like DocuSign, Decision Links customers, I sit on the board. That's why I say our. They're distributing it now. Before they were using it sort of just with the value consulting group.
Yeah.
And so when you're just using it for the value consulting group, you kind of have limited results. You can't scale it because you're only addressing your top strategic deals. Well, the sales leader there said, I want to use value in every conversation that we have for every deal, not just those few ones at the top of the pyramid. And so right now they're leveraging the tool for everything and every salesperson. And so now every salesperson can walk in and say they're talking to Big Bank X, say Big Bank X, your peer, your competitor is using DocuSign, and for every contract they do on DocuSign, they're saving, I'm picking a number here, $48 a day. And never mind the impact that it's having on the environment, right? To go paperless. Yep. So when you can quantify how much savings or improved revenue you can have on a daily basis, everybody's going to turn their head. The CFO, the CEO, everyone's going to listen to your value proposition. Yep. So when you can quantify exactly the impact that your solution's making, as an example to other, for other customers, and you bring that into your conversations. So we've made this, originally it started as a value engineering tool. So a value engineer is very sophisticated business models and math models and things like that. We've made it accessible to salespeople now. So it's really self-serve and so forth. So I think I'm really big on that in terms of working. The other ways of working differently are obviously turn your camera on and have real conversations and get as close as you can. Leverage LinkedIn to communicate. Ask people how they are. Just ask them how they're doing, and if and really feel what's going on. And be sensitive to what's going on to people's situations.
Yep. And just like how you would meet them in person, and ask them how they are. A personal touch is always really important.
That's right.
Empathy, I guess. Yep.
That's right. So those are sort of my experiences. Speaking sort of sales person, sales leader. I managed large sales teams, had at one point $500 million quota that we had to hit. So it was like the size of a good size SMB company or mid-market company. I've moved to marketing and product management and learned a bunch there. So certainly if anyone needs any help on anything, come visit us at jcurvedigital.com. And I'm happy to help. We're really excited about what we're helping customers with, and we're seeing them grow. The customers that I'm working with the goal is hyper growth. So I'm helping them with their growth strategies and leveraging a lot of my techniques and approaches and templates, like I showed you earlier, to help customers grow in this digital world.
Sure, that's great. So what role do you believe data analytics and AI will play in crafting a marketing strategy and a plan?
I don't see how you can do a marketing strategy and a plan for anyone or anything without analytics and data. I start every engagement now with research. I won't jump into any kind of engagement when I'm helping customers with go-to-market without doing some semblance of research. Even if they've done it, I like to do some of my own research to make sure and look at, like I said, what are those sectors or markets that you're focused on. So really understanding and doing the discovery of markets and sizing and trends and competitors. Competitive research is so important to understand where they're strong, where you're strong, and what really makes you different. So differentiation, and the only way you're going to get that is through analytics and research. Customer sentiment, one of the things that we developed at Jabil, and this is where marketing and supply chain came together, and we would show this off, and we could see when one of our customers launched a product, what was the customer sentiment out there for this product, and does that impact the supply chain, and does it impact how we message, and does it impact the marketing campaigns? So the customer sentiment analysis that we used to do, and we leveraged Watson to help us with this, was really insightful. We could also see our competitors and where they were having problems with product launches, and it gave us an opportunity to have a competitive replacement conversation to discuss, how can something be better engineered, or how can we bring something to the table that maybe your current supplier and current solution provider isn't providing. So analytics on sentiment is hugely important before, during, and after a product launch, to understand how the market is accepting or adopting your particular solution, and drilling right down into the particular part of the experience that they don't like. So if they don't like how something looks or works, or the use, that's hugely important. And then there's that leads me backward a little bit to ethnographic research and human factors, and understanding and doing research up front around people's experiences and the end-to-end, not UX. This is so much more than UX. This is the whole CX. What's the whole thing? So if you're a retailer, what's the experience for that end customer as they're walking out the door? Parking in your parking lot. Obviously, no one's parking in any parking lots. Going into your store, being disappointed because you're out of stock on something that you advertised. Right? Walking around and looking for things. How easy is it to find things? Going to the cash to pay, or paying automatically through some digitized, payment process that you have. What is that end-to-end experience that your customers are feeling? And then looking at that and synthesizing all of those data points to make really good decisions about the experience. So data is important in the market focus. What are you going to focus on? Where are you better than your competition? Data is important in your campaigning efforts. Obviously, what's working in your campaigns, what's not. If you can see in real time your digital campaigns and which tactics are working and which ones aren't, if paid's not working, then, but email's working, then you have the ability in real time to switch your tactics. Right? To switch up and course correct what you need to course correct. So strategy, execution, experience. Make sure you got the data.
I can't imagine how it would have been like 20 years back. Today, people starting off, they have so much data at their disposal, so many tools, AI, everything. I know 20 years back, it would have been so difficult.
Let me tell you, I can tell you 20 years back because I was around. So I remember being in a meeting. And Satya, we had a meeting about marketing costs. It cost us $10,000 per lead, not customer acquisition, just a lead. Whoa. $10,000. That was our average cost. Digital has changed everything for marketers. Everything.
Now you could get leads for like under $1, maybe.
That's right. That's right. And if, like I said, you play your cards right, and you message right, and you segment and you target, and all those things that we talked about, and understand your customers at a persona level, it could be even less than that, and higher impact.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, I was so happy because I've been working with one client, and I was tasked with helping them reduce cost and improve results. And we just got a report from the business analyst last week. And we did that. We reduced costs significantly, several $1,000s reduction in spend, and much bigger customer acquisition statistics. So drove down cost, brought up results, and the executives were thrilled. So digital is a miracle. It's magic.
Yeah, definitely. And in today's world, bring down costs as much as you can, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Because then you can repurpose it. It's not just cutting for cutting's sake. It's cutting to invest. A lot of companies are taking that and putting it right back into the business to make them more competitive and more differentiated. Because at the end of the day, what you invest in and your key initiatives as a company is what's going to differentiate you. Think about that for a minute, right? If you have 4 strategic initiatives and you're going to put your money into those strategic initiatives, those are going to be the 4 things that differentiate you. So pick carefully, right? Even at a strategy level, and I do consult companies on a strategy level, really think that through, because once you make those investments, they really have to pay off and come through on the other end as differentiation, not just cost cutting for cost cutting.
Definitely. Invest in much better something that will give much better ROI, right? Okay, so what are some recommendations you would give small businesses for gaining the same level of sophistication as larger enterprises for brand building, marketing, sales, and support?
I mean, for small businesses these days, you can act like a big business because of the power of digital. So make sure that you are really educated. My advice is never stop learning for small businesses. Take from every age group. Don't have stigma about age, because us old timers have a lot of good wisdom that can be applied. Of course, you can challenge conventional wisdom. There's new ways to do things, right? New approaches. But what I've seen, the most successful companies have a blend. They have diversity of thinking. They have younger people, older people, different ethnicities, different genders. Everybody's participating in this growth process, in these startups. And those are the startups that are the most successful, that give everyone a voice and really continually learn. They make lifelong learning kind of almost part of their core values. And to me, it is a core value. It's a culture. A culture of learning is, to me, one you cannot go wrong with. And so I'm seeing that the successful ones are having passion about that. The other thing is, I'm going to tell you something. If you're just into something just to make money, you're not going to win. The companies, especially when I was at Jabil, the ones that were the most successful were the companies. Of course, you have to have business savvy, of course, but it was the companies that had passion about changing or making something better in the world. Those were the ones that were always successful. The companies that wanted to make life better in some way, shape, or form, that they could contribute to making something better. I'll never forget one of the case studies that we did at Jabil was a company called Superfeet. Their lifelong goal was to make our feet comfortable, because feet hurt, especially when you're in trade shows and you're walking around and you have big, steps to take. And they would do 3D scanning of feet to do custom soles, and they would 3D print custom soles for your shoes. And this guy's passion, the CEO, was passionate. He said, "I want to make foot comfort a reality for people. That's how I want to change the world. That's what my purpose in life is." And it was just so, it seems like a small thing, but it was a big thing to him. And it's a big thing to people, to human beings. And so his belief was, if your feet are comfortable, you're going to be comfortable. And so that's the kind of passion I'm talking about. Have a real passion to make change. One of the companies I'm working with right now, love this client, digital manufacturing client, they have a passion to help makers innovate and bring things to market faster and cut through all of the crazy friction involved in bringing a product to market. Even if you don't have the skills to bring a product to market and you've never done it before, they want to help makers do that. And they have all of the digital capabilities, all of the different manufacturing processes, manufacturing partners all over the globe, and quality engineers and design engineers, all wrapped up into this what they call a global manufacturing ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
And this ecosystem connects supply and demand and helps people make products really fast and really well, right? High quality, fast, at low prices. That's unheard of. Now, imagine this company helping people, and companies, big companies, go to this center to order their mechanical parts. Imagine, in the face of all this disruption, the supply chain disruption, being able to just go to a portal, load up your 3D diagram, and saying, "Okay, I want to build this part. Okay, would you like that 3D printed, CNC machined, injection? What process do you want?"
Mm-hmm.
Is basically the question they ask. Or would you like to try 3D printing instead of injection molding? Or would you like to try this material and give a person guided expertise that's in the knowledge base, and then provide them with feedback on the geometry and feedback on everything in terms of how to make this product properly, and then give them the price to order the part.
Yeah.
Wow. And have it turned around, and if you're doing it on site with U.S. manufacturing, it's 2 days. If you want it done in India, it's X days. If you want it done in China, it's X days, and different costs. So you're helping somebody make those decisions and trade-offs about how to make a product, and then not worrying about the rest or how to make a part. I love this company. It's pure digital. They have no factories of their own. They're like the Airbnb of manufacturing, is what's Forbes said about them. So really exciting to see all these digital technologies and these small startups blossoming into big companies by depending on that passion to drive the organization to continue to learn and to leverage digital marketing techniques to be successful. Those are the big things for me.
Wow, that's great. And as you said, if they have the passion and they want to solve customer problems, create a great experience for them, I mean, success and growth will all, come.
Yep.
And the leaders who are the experienced people who can pass on the learnings, pass on the torch to the next generation. If they can blend in the right experience, they can, create a very successful business.
Exactly. All the success will come later. The money comes later, right? Like, it will come if you focus on the customer, the needs, the market, the passion, continually learn, and just take advantage of all the incredible technology that's affordable now. That's the other thing that wasn't there. Even though we had technology, not as distributed, not as internet-based, but we had tons of technology. Artificial intelligence is not new. Yeah. It's not new at all. I mean, I would almost guess it's probably 50 years old. It wasn't accessible. We couldn't consume it. Yeah. Right? We had the brain power, we had the machine power, but it wasn't affordable. It wasn't accessible. It wasn't in the cloud. So that's the difference. That cloud is making a huge difference to everything.
Yes. So you're saying that small businesses, it's they can compete with the large businesses in today's world. Yep. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much.
So many great insights. Thank you so much again, Joanne. Have a wonderful day.
You take care. Thanks. You as well.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye for now.